Now, today, MPs have released a report into the controversy surrounding the tactics used by charities, telling them that they're on their last chance to improve fundraising techniques.
Well, this comes in the wake of another inquiry last week that found a poppy seller, Olive Cook, had received over 3,000 unsolicited begging letters from charity in just a year.
Well, you may remember that last July we met with Jenny Phelps, who had received enough letters to cover the walls of our studio. Jenny is back today with an update, and she's joined by Alice Beer, who believes it's time for tougher regulations. We just heard from Jeremy Corbyn saying that they shouldn't be self-regulating. They're on their last chance saloon. What happens now?
Why are we giving them another chance? Self-regulation has proved it's not working, unfortunately. Jenny, since she last came on the programme, has had another 60 or so letters. She's signed up now to all the male preference service. I've signed you up this morning. And it's still happening. She's still being exploited. She's still being bullied. If you have regulation that is wholly funded by the charities, it can't ever be independent. It needs to be, at least in part, paid for by the public purse.
I didn't realise, when you have a charity, the trustees of the charity, who are the people in charge, they often volunteer for those roles.
Yes.
And then they let other companies run their fundraising. So they're not necessarily across how the money is being raised.
No, and it's very difficult. I'm glad you've raised the point that they are volunteers. So this report from the government saying the buck stops with you. You are wholly responsible. Well, are you, Phillip Schofield, going to go and take a trustee role in a big charity knowing that the buck stops with you and you're completely unpaid for that role and you're giving up your free time to do it? You're not going to do that. So where are we going to get these good people who are right for the job?
But it's the hired out companies or the hired in companies who themselves, when you applied for a job and they wanted sales experience. You had to be sales.
Absolutely, because the same people who are pressured, who are good at pressured selling, are making the calls to people like Jenny or sending the letters to people like Jenny to get the money for the charities.
And Jenny, you are one of life's really good people, and yet what is happening to you is so incredibly unfair. And we saw you in July. Since then, this is all the letters that you've had since July, even though you had filled in a few tick boxes saying, no, these are the ones that you haven't done. And the worst thing that gets you is you call them inserts. So what is an insert? How does that work?
Well, you can get things like from people in Africa saying, please help little babies that are suffering from hypothermia. Will you send back this pair of baby socks or these mittens,
socks and mittens
with your donation?
Which obviously plays in your mind.
And I'm thinking, well, why are they sending them to me when they need them over there? How many thousands of people are getting these? And, of course, you feel, you know, well, I will do something for them. But then you feel, hang on, is this a con? You know, you don't know, do you, really?
That's terrible.
And, I mean, for instance, there's two cases where a lady who's partially sighted, she sent £12 to a charity asking for children to have cataracts removed, you know, and she thought, I'll pay for that. And I did the same myself last year, actually. And then about a fortnight later, she had another letter asking for another £12. You know, so you get this bombardment. And if only they would sort of restrict what they send to you and would go on to tick boxes as well. I've come up with an idea, and I think, well, surely if you get a letter come through, instead of having to open it and look at all the contents and find the tick box in there, why don't they just have it on the back, a big tick box, say, tick this box if you do not want to have any more mail and return this to sender. That would save you a lot of work.
Of course, they're businesses getting money out of the public for a charity. They're all competing against each other.
Billions of pounds, yes.
And look at the wastage of all the paper
of course.
and the items, you know.
Precisely, and they all come with pens and stuff like that, which they've all have made. So, what do you do if you are being bothered by this? I mean, assuming that they are on this last chance saloon, and eventually they'll end up being regulated, and they won't be able to do any of this stuff anyway if they continue to abuse it.
Cost us a lot of money. Statutory regulation is really expensive for us, the taxpayer. And these charities do an awful lot of good, and they've had billions of pounds of the grants removed. So what should Jenny do? Jenny's done the right thing. She's now on the male preference service. How long did that take? Less than a minute?
Yes.
OK. Yeah. So get someone who knows how to go on a computer to get you on the male preference service. That's for addressed mail. Unaddressed mail, you can go to your choice on the Direct Marketing Association. All these things are going to be on our website. You can go to the Royal Mail opt-out for unaddressed mail. The Royal Mail drop things about 3 times a week. week, unaddressed through your letterbox. You need to know who is regulating your information, and that is the Information Commissioner's Office. They are responsible for Jenny's name and address and keeping that private. And if you go onto their website, you can complain about the charities to them, and we must do, because otherwise they're going to carry on and carry on. Your name and your address is yours, and it's private, and you should be able to protect
and not
that.
sold on to other charities.
And not sold on.
Without
and
my
information
knowing about it.
Yeah, exactly.